Hey, it's Toby with sheel-mann Seats. Today we're going to be working on this beautiful Porsche 964 Cabriolet. It's actually a barn find that we found locally. Was sitting with some four-legged critters living inside for the last 15 years. They've been evicted and now it's time to treat her to some new seats. So today I'm going to be installing a pair of Sportline R's in black leather with perforated centers, which I think will really freshen her up and make her a lot more comfortable to go on some long drives. So installing seats, sheel-mann seats in a Porsche 911 is a really pretty straightforward, easy process. You're unbolting the old seats and bolting in the new seats. There's no adapter brackets that are needed. Our seats are really similar to the original seats. But there's a couple of nuanced steps, and so I'm going to start by taking out the old seats, which is just as simple as taking out the bolts that hold the seat to the floor, and then we'll go through the process of putting the new seats in. All right, now that we can see the bottom of the seat, the power seat wires unplug by just pulling up on this plug, and then the seat belt wires right here, you push together these two tabs, and then it should just pull apart like that. So now the seat is free. All the bolts are undone and we've disconnected the wire so we can just pull the seat out of the car. The only thing that we need to use off the old seat is the seatbelt receptacle along with that wire that we disconnected earlier. So I'm gonna take this bolt out and disconnect the zip ties holding the wire in place, and we'll just get that off the seat. That's what we need, and because this one is from an old car, we're gonna clean it up with a little bit of detailing materials from Gion and get it ready to put on the new seat. All right, we got the old seat out of there, and now we're gonna talk about putting together the new seat with all the new components, and it's really simple, but there's some important steps that I just want to go over. The first thing is that in a 964, the tunnel is very narrow, and so we've already modified this seat with the narrow hand adjustment wheel, and we've deleted one of the old adjustment knobs off the side of the seat. That's the first step. The next thing is that we're going to put the sliding rails onto the bottom of the seat, and on the 964, that seatbelt receptacle that we took off needs a place to mount. And so we're going to use we call it the U-shaped anchor. And that's gonna go on before the sliding rails and give us a safe place to mount that seatbelt receptacle. After we do that, we'll put the sliding rails on and we'll be done. So I like to start with the seat on its back, and we'll make the seat bottom as vertical as we can easily make it go, like that. And we're gonna lay out our parts and pieces. So the first thing we need is to open up that U-shaped bracket. And you'll notice that it comes with a pair of spacers. Those are very important. We'll use those in a second. And the first thing I'm gonna do is just offer this in place, and we can kind of get an idea how it works. So there's a couple of large holes. These are actually gonna go over top of the rear mounting holes. And it's really important to note that the little tab here where the seatbelt mounts is gonna go up and towards the seat, just like that. So we'll line that up and then do the same thing over here. Perfect. The next thing I'm gonna point out is that we need to think ahead to where this wire is gonna run. So it's important, it's gonna go from the kind of the outside of the seat to the inside of the seat. And if we're not careful with that, it could get caught in the sliding rails and become a problem. And so where I think I'm gonna run it is I'm gonna run it in front of our anchor. There's a gap that's been created by the actual piece of steel. And so I'm gonna run that on the inside. Because that's gonna happen, I'm gonna mount this to the seatbelt anchor first before we put the sliding rails on. Okay, so I'm gonna mount the seatbelt receptacle right on top of the seatbelt anchor here, and we're gonna just reuse the bolts and the washer from the Porsche. Get everything stacked together and get it started, and then we can use that 17mm ratchet. And right now I don't want to make it tight, I just want to get it started. Perfect. I just released the backrest, and that makes it even easier. Now it's not gonna slide down. The next step is those washers that came with the kit for the spacers that came with the kit for the seatbelt anchor. We're gonna put those on the front mounting holes, and that way when we install the sliders, everything will be level and plumb. So let's open up our bolt kit that comes with this was hanging on the bottom of the seat, and these are the new bolts that are going to bolt the sliding rails to the seat. All right, so these are the mounting hole. The mounting bolts come with the kit, and they use a 5mm Allen wrench, which we also send with the kit. And then we're gonna look at the sliding rails. We've already opened them up and laid them out, and I just want to orient them for you to make it a little bit easier to understand what's happening. The side that has the two grooves, that goes towards the seat. The side that is a little bit thinner, that's going to go towards the car. And the two tabs, those go towards the front of the car, and the single tab is to the back. And so in order to mount these on the seat, we need to know how to slide the sliders back and forth so we can get the bolts in. And the best way I found to do that for me is this silver spring extends forward and is attached to this movable plate. And I use my forefinger on one side and my thumb on the other. I'll just show you, like I'm squeezing right there. That's to release it. And once I do that, then I can slide it either way. And so for this installation, we're gonna start with, we wanna mount the front mounting holes on the seat side first. And so I'm gonna set up both sliders for that. That one's ready for the left-hand side, and that one's already ready for the right-hand side. Really quickly, this is a great time to talk about imagining that these sliders are already mounted on the bottom of the seat, and we are going to install this in the car. If we look with the camera, the holes that we're going to use that are going to go into the Porsche are the round 8mm holes that are a little bit forward of the back hole. And we provide this washer that spreads the load out on the sliding rails, and that's going to drop right in the sliding rails and give a little bit of extra support when you're mounting this to the car. Now we're going to mount the front mounting hole, and we're using that spacer to give us the right height so that we're level with the back. And I like to use the back of the Allen wrench to kind of get it started. Just want to go nice and slow and make sure we don't cross thread anything, and it goes in perfect. And when we tighten this front one up, we don't want to get it all the way tight. We want to leave it just loose enough that we can slide the slider around to get the rear mounting holes. So right here is perfect, so you can still feel that it's loose enough that when we put our rear bolts in, we're not going to fight it. So we're going to leave that a little bit loose, and then we'll do the other side. Again, just leaving it loose enough that I can move it back and forth. And then before we put the back bolt in, I need to slide the slider back the other way, and by only doing the front one first, I can still use my my method here to slide the slider the other way. And then we're going to neatly make sure that wire is tucked in that gap, and now we can start the rear bolts. Once we've got all three of these started, now we can tighten them up. And we don't need to go crazy tight, but just tight enough that nothing moves around. Again, now that all three of these bolts are nicely started, we can tighten them all the way up. And it's really important, the next thing we're gonna do is put that release handle in, and then we'll move these all the way the other direction and tighten up the front bolts. That's potentially could be easy to forget, so let's not do that. And like I said, we give you a really nice high quality 5mm Allen wrench, which is important to use. But if you don't have that for some reason, what's critical is that you use a high quality 5mm Allen wrench that fits the fastener properly, so that you don't potentially strip things out, because these are all, we're putting a fair amount of force on this because it has Loctite on it. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is put the slider release handle in, and it's important to note that it's actually not a flat piece of, it's not flat like this. There's actually a bend in it, and that bend allows us to have more throw when we're releasing the handle. And so the way to find out which way the bend goes is to put it on a flat surface, and you can see that now the bend is going away from the table, and that what we want to do is pick it right up like that and we're going to install it so that the bend is going away from the bottom of the seat, and that gives you more throw when you're pulling up on the handle. The next note is that there's 2 release handle mounting pin holes on the side of this handle, and either one works perfectly fine. The only difference is how much of the handle sticks out in front of the seat. So if you have like for instance, a longer seat bottom like this Sportline R, the handle stick out a bit further so that it's easier to reach the handle when you want to adjust it. So we're gonna use the back mounting hole, which is gonna go on top of the single pin, and then the double pins are gonna trap the front of this handle. So I start on one side, offer it up, and then we come to the other side and just gently bend the release handle together, and we'll line it up with that rear pin, and you can kind of get in there and get a close shot. You can see that the pins lined up with the hole. The front 2 pins are capturing the slider handle up here, and the final step is we're going to use the hammer and just gently tap this together and tap this home, and the friction is the only thing that holds it in place. And that's all there is to it. Now that this is seated, it's very important that we release the handle so that the sliders can go back the other way, and we're going to put a final tighten on the front mounting bolts. In the last part of the video, when we left off, we were just finishing up the seat assembly. Now, we're skipping forward a couple days. This particular car needed some really deep cleaning and some other cosmetic upgrades on the interior. And so we're skipping forward. We have the seats installed, and I'm gonna go over the steps of bolting them in. There's a couple of key things to remember. One is that on the driver's side, you need to plug in that seatbelt receptacle before you put the seat in. And then 2, and every car is a little bit different. 964s and 993s have a very narrow tunnel, and so there's a couple of things we can do to make things slide back and forth and not get hung up, just to make the install perfect. One is that on this side, near the fender well, I like to come under the carpet and remove some of the insulation and the padding, and that way when the seat is in the slides all the way back, you get the maximum amount of legroom. Same thing on the inboard side, the carpet insulation right underneath the tunnel. I just remove all of that so that we can have the seat, it doesn't interfere with anything, it doesn't get hung up on the carpet, and you can have the most amount of rear travel and rear legroom. And that's a little bit nuanced. Every job's a little bit different. Every time you install these seats in a hand-built German car, there's fun things to find and see how they did it at the factory. But at the end of the day, these beautiful seats are installed. The next thing I want to do is talk about how to take care of them and maintain them and enjoy them. I want to talk a little bit about taking care of these new beautiful seats. The first thing is that when you install them, you may have gotten a little bit of silicone grease or something from your hands on the material, and we want to clean that up so they look like they're brand new. And the next stage is maintaining them with use. And so as you use any seat, you're going to be depositing salts and oils and debris from your skin and from your clothing and sunscreen onto this material. And over time, that will degrade the coatings that are on the seats and lead to premature wear. So what we want to do is keep the seats clean, and then we want to keep them protected. And those products that you use are very important, and we've partnered with people that are the top of their game, a company called Geon. So I'm gonna go over the Geon products and show you how to use them and when to use them. So with every new pair of sheel-mann seats, you'll actually get a Geon cleaning kit that was really carefully put together with the right products to help you care for your seats and make them last as long as possible. I'm just gonna open up the package and show you what's inside. So the first thing I'm gonna open up here, we've got the leather wipes. And what's really important is that these have no dye in them. And once we've put the cleaner on the seats, these are gonna soak up all the dirt and oils and leave you with that matte finish. There's an applicator here with just the right amount of friction for scrubbing the leather, scrubbing the leatherette, and getting those oils and salts off. And then after this, you can wipe it up with a leather wipe. From a product perspective, we've got 3 products that come in the kit. The first one is the fabric cleaner, and if you've got leather seats like this car does, you'll never need this. But if you have cloth in the center, you can get stains up and do a nice light cleaning to keep that fabric looking perfect. Probably my favorite product that I use the most from this kit is this leather cleaner, which is also good for leatherette. This is what you're going to use on a more regular basis to get in there on that leatherette or leather and remove and exfoliate kind of the seat and get it back to its natural finish. There is another product from Geon called Strong, and I found that there hasn't been anything that I've needed the Strong for. This more gentle formula works really good, and it's just the right balance. And then finally, we've got a protectant. Now this is going to do a couple of things. One, it's got a UV protectant, so this is going to go on the leather or leatherette after it's been cleaned and dried. And so it's going to keep the protection from the UV rays that are just pounding in your car. And then two, it's got a little bit of a friction modifier, so the leatherette or the leather will actually feel a bit slippery. So you don't want to use this on your steering wheel, but on the bolsters where you're getting in and out of the car, it's just going to reduce the friction a little bit. One, it's easier to get in and out, and two, there's less wear and tear on the bolsters. And this lasts, a few months. And there's a stronger product that's not included in the kit that lasts a lot longer, and I would recommend that for cars with like really light interior, tans, where you're trying to get another layer of protection that's going to last even longer, and that's the leather shield. Now this isn't included in the kit, but it's very easy to apply. When it's both of these, when they're dry, that's going to be right back to the natural finish. There's no sheen or added slipperiness from a visual perspective. It's just going to be less wear and tear on the seats and help to keep them cleaner and last longer. Now, since we just put these seats in the car, there's a couple of spots I noticed where I got a little bit of that silicone grease from the sliding rails on the seat, and I just want to give them a light cleaning and then let them dry and put a fresh coat of the leather coat on to give these a great start in the world. Leather Cleaner Natural on the corner of the scrubby pad, and I'm just using the larger refill bottle. And I don't know if you can see in the camera, but we've got some staining here and here and here from just my lack of cleanliness when I was putting this together. And so I'm just gonna get this going with a little circular gentle scrubbing action. I know I got some on the headrest here. And also down here. I don't want to let this dry, so I'm just gonna get my fresh wipe and clean it up. Perfect. Now we'll let this dry, and we should be good. All right, we got these brand new seats. We've cleaned them, let them completely dry, and I'm gonna put on a coat of the leather coat, which is gonna give that UV protection and also reduce friction and help you get in and out of the car and reduce wear and tear. So I've got a microfiber towel. I'm gonna spray a couple of pumps on this towel and then just wipe it on evenly and let it dry. All right, well, we're all wrapped up here on the old 964. Seats are installed, they're clean, they are protected. This thing's ready to enjoy some long distance trips and having some fun adventures. So one of the things I just wanted to say is we have a lot of Porsche content, but that doesn't mean our seats aren't awesome in every kind of car. If you're a human with a bad back and you want to go travel, our seats, we can probably find a way to get them in there, and we'd love to help you. So the easiest way is to go on our website, which is sheel-mann.com, or email us at info@sheel-mann.com, or you can even call us on the phone number on the website or on the screen. We love chatting about cars. That's why we're doing this. We really are car people. So give us a chat, and we're here to help you out and make you comfortable and enjoy your life.